I'm gonna ask what the answer is. And Elvira, what did y'all get for the answer?
5 1/3
5 1/3
cups.
cups. So altogether, they served 5 1/3 cups of punch. Let's put that in a complete sentence with you. Okay? 5 1/3 cups of punch were served. Okay. Amanda, what did y'all get?
What we did was we figured out, like our kids and everything, so we had like 8 kids, and then we had to place them like representing what 1 cup would be. And so like to visually see it, we just kind of like took them apart to say, okay, like that was 1 cup of punch, that was 2 cups of punch, 3 cups of punch, 4 cups of punch, and I think I lost my guys somewhere.
Yeah.
We were trying to prove it different ways.
Okay.
We did it 3 totally
Three different ways.
Wonderful.
So, and so we got eventually to our 5, and then our leftover would have been the 1/3, because we used it up against, we said if this represents the green is, our cup of punch, so we knew that we had to have 3 of these to make it 1 whole.
Okay, now I understood everything that you said. Can you rephrase that without your pronouns? You said them many times. And with
Sorry.
units, cups or students, okay? Cups or students, those are our units.
Mhm.
Can you rephrase that? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna let you off the hook. Ashley, can you rephrase what she said with pronouns, with no pronouns,
Right.
and with our units, cups and students?
Okay, so we had our green that represents the whole,
The whole what?
a whole cup,
Good.
because it's divided into 3 portions, 3.
What?
So,
Okay, you didn't say that.
Yeah, I didn't say it. So, one way was the red Cuisinart represented 2 parts of, hold on, I'll get there, 2/3 of a cup, whereas a green represents 1 whole cup.
Very nice.
So, counted out 8 Cuisinart rods for each child,
Which Cuisinart rods?
the red.
The red.
The red Cuisinart, each red Cuisinart rod, we counted out 8 of these for each child, because
Why?
each child has 2/3 of a cup, and
Good.
that's our representation of 2/3 of a cup.
Okay.
So, we have our 8, we'll pretend each, and then the problem that's faced, you can stack them up, but then there's, They
You
will
can stack
not-
them up and them in.
you can connect the Cuisinart rods that represent the amount that each child got.
Good.
But you don't, we wanted to make it so that it was the same as 1 whole cup.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. So, using the white Cuisinart rods, which represent 1/3 of a cup,
Okay.
exchange it. So take 1 out,
Take one what out?
take 1 red Cuisinart rod out in exchange for 2 white Cuisinart. So this is 1/3, and then we have 1/3
Of a.
cup.
Good.
And then we connected them to the other red Cuisinart rods, which would represent a red Cuisinart rod.
You
plus-
connected them, meaning
We
the.
connected the white Cuisinart rod to the red Cuisinart rod,
Good.
which gave us 1 whole cup,
Okay.
which is represented by the green Cuisinart rod.
Nice.
And then we continue to exchange one red Cuisinart rod for 2 white Cuisinart rods until we had as many whole cups as we
Thank you.
could represent. So, anyway, what ended up happening was,
Like that cartoon, a miracle occurred and.
a miracle occurred. So we ended up with 5 whole cups, is represented by the white and the red Cuisinart rods. And then we had 1 white Cuisinart rod left over, which gave us our remaining 1/3 cup.
Nicely done. Nicely done. It's hard to talk without. Thank you. Michelle.
Question for that group.
Yeah.
Why did you say that the connecting the red crease and arrow rods did not or would not work?
Well, not with the method that we used here. There was another method where we did connect all the red Cuisinart rods.
Okay, so you just found a different way.
Different way.
A lot of times I explain to my students that people sound smarter on TV because they don't use all the pronouns. And so whenever I tell them to answer a question, I always use my, well, Miss Henderson, what we must do, and they have to like use all the correct terminology. And I was telling them that a lot of people, really, they're not as smart as they sound, but they sound smart because they're not using the pronouns.
Absolutely, the pronouns are just so confusing because I can't remember who, but somebody said them 3 times, and one time it meant students, and one time it meant cups, and I forgot what the third time it meant. So pronouns are just not good to use. So Tim, do you want to tell the story about our first session together?
I would love to hear it.
I'll give you the typical version. Basically, when I started Mix, we used to do things a little different. We, as the group of teachers and the directors of the program, we were at the school that I was teaching at for our AY meeting, and it was the first time I was introduced to a 4-corner poster. And a 4-quadrant poster. Dr. Browning gave my group a problem to work on, and I was chosen to present this problem. And I was doing my presentation, and I was using pronouns, and Dr. Browning was making me very frustrated. Because she just kept saying, and what is it? And what is it? Because I kept saying it's right here, this, it.
Exactly what
And I was,
it's right here.
and I was pointing to a table that we had made. And then finally it clicked, just say the table. This table. And she said, thank you. Kept going on. But that was about a 5-minute discussion, so every time you were saying this and that, I'm like, okay, she's gonna say, what is this? You have to understand, that was 3.5 years ago. And I use that example in my classroom when I'm introducing use of proper language in my class for my kids. And they look at me and they're like, don't you have a college degree, sir? Yes. And the person that I have has a higher college degree, and she was still telling me not to use it. So when they're doing presentations in my class, they have to stay away from pronouns also.
Yeah, pronouns are not good when you're trying to explain something, especially when there's more than one unit. We had cups and we had students. So how do I know which one you're using the pronoun for? Okay, very nice, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go on, and I have a data collection sheet for you. Yes, ma'am?
Just as you're going through that discussion about pronouns, I'm writing down, thinking, it's really fun to watch a master do this. And they make it look so easy. And as Tim says, 3.5 years later, he's able to implement it in his classroom. For me, I think of it as, my daughter was a competitive gymnast. She made that uneven parallel bars thing look tremendously easy. And I tried to do a pull-up on the bar once. And that's pretty much the difference between novice teaching, just beginning, and being a master after you've done it for years and years and continue to learn and practice.
Done it correctly, years and years.
Yes, it's not perfect practice. I mean, you have to practice it correctly, otherwise you don't. But it makes a difference. So as we are trying to do all this together, let's give ourselves a little bit of a break because you feel like a nut otherwise. Because it's not easy. Teaching done right and learning and supporting learning is a very intense, difficult, rewarding, like, unbelievable experience, and that's why you're doing it.
It is, and thank you for saying years and years and years. It really made me feel so young. This is, I am starting my 46th year to teach. 46 years. Thank you.
Thank goodness you're still doing it.
30 30 of those were in the classroom. 30 of those were in grade 6 through pre-cal classrooms, okay? I was a horrible teacher, I will tell you. I was a horrible teacher for the first 5 years. My kids didn't know I was horrible. I didn't know I was horrible. My principal loved me. Number one, I'm organized. And number two, I never lost any books. My grades were in on time, I kept my books. I didn't send kids to the office, and you know why I didn't send kids to the office? They were scared to death of me. They were scared to death of me, because I was very strict, I'm a very linear thinker. I had to have, my desk had to be in a row. You know, none of this talking could go on, nothing. So my first 5 years, and I finally realized that my kids aren't learning. You know, and I had to go back and make myself change my mindset. So even if you're a very abstract, linear thinker, as I am, you have to make yourself go back and learn how to use these manipulatives. Because if you don't, you're going to lose some kids. More and more kids as they go along. Because research has shown that the visual side, the part of your brain that processes visually, is larger in the kids today than they were in the past because of all the video games and things that they play. So visual learning is so important for these kiddos. All right, now I'll get off my soapbox. And we have a data collection sheet here. And it has 3 different problems. So I want you to work through each of the 3 problems. What I don't want you to do is say, you work the first one, you work the second one, and you work the third one. Okay, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna all work all the problems. And I want the weakest person in your group to do most of the work. Most of the work. And when I say weakest, I mean the one not experienced with twisting their rods. Okay? All right.
Well, Byra, let's go. We haven't used them before.
Wrong and next person.
I'm well, how are you? Thank you.
Okay.
And since I have 3 pieces, I have 3 challenges.